Going to start by removing both of the front wheels. Pop these two plastic caps off on the frame. And in there are 17mm nuts and one here to get the transmission mount out. $19mm nut on top of the transmission mount. It's a tight one. '17s on the upper sway bar nuts. You can kind of see. When that strips out, you can just grab a set of vice grips, clip them onto the back here. Same thing on the passenger side. With your trans mount unbolted, put a jack on the transmission. Jack it up to about here. It's about as high as you can go. Grab a set of vice grips. Spin this stud out. I was told that you can do this by just loosening up the front and rear motor mounts. But to be honest with you, if you're not doing it on a lift, if you're doing it in your driveway, you're not going to want to come under here and loosen those off and get up in here and loosen that up. This thing's 14 years old, has over 200,000 miles on it, and the stud broke free with no problem. I think that's the best way to go if you're doing it at home. Especially. Get your stud unthreaded, pull it out. Then you can just tilt the mount towards you and lift that out. Now with the mount out of the way, you have access to the 22mm bolt here. The sway bar links unhooked. You have access to that one. See? Right there. And then we have a 19mm nut and bolt for the rear bushing. Again, this is a 22. One down. Get this plastic piece out of the way. It looks like it has 4 10mm bolts on either side and a plastic push clip. Makes it a little easier to access the bolt head on your rear bushing. So I can't get the cotter pin out on the ball joint nut. So the options are, I'm already replacing the struts and links anyway. So my options are just pull the spindle, get an impact on there and rip it out, or not change the ball joint. I'm already doing the struts, so let's pull the spindle. So got to get this cotter pin off of the outer tie rod. That doesn't want to come either, but we'll get it. There it goes. $17. $30mm 12-point socket. $10mm bolt on the ABS sensor. That came out too easy. All right, I'll take it. 217 through the caliper bracket. Hang your caliper out of the way. 12mm bolt for the ABS and brake hose. Had to break that free with a ratchet. Get your rotor out of the way. Then we have 22mm nut and bolt on the strut to spindle. Take those off real quick. I have the nuts off, so I just have to pull the bolts and spindle will fall right off. Now that the spindle's off, you can get a 19mm with a swivel and just beat it right over that cotter pin. Use your impact to bust it loose. And then just whack your ball joint out of there. Now I have to get access to the top of the struts. So we're going to have to pull the wiper arms and this cowling. Pull up these caps on the wiper arms. Maybe something smaller. That did not hit the floor. 14mm. 14mm. Rock your arm until it breaks loose. We have these little tabs underneath. You have to push them, just pinch them together with a set of pliers and pull up. All the way across. With those off, you have to get these corners out of the way. You can lift up and pull out. Three 10mm bolts on here, here, and here. Get your wiper motor out of the way. Just shift it over a little so you can access this nut. We have 3/14s to get the strut out. When you pull these upper strut nuts off, you're gonna have to be prepared to catch it. I don't know if that'll see it or not. Take the other nut off your sway bar link, as we're changing them too. And you can slide the strut back in. Underneath one hand. And go up top and get the nuts started. New struts came with 15mm nuts. You can put your wiper motor back in because it's not in the way to do the passenger side. Slide this over. Have to get this grommet past the bracket there. Come on. Then pull it back in. Now to line up your 3 bolt holes. Put your 3 10mm back in. I'm going to finish putting this side back together in the video. But for the passenger side, it's the exact same process, except you have to remove this plastic panel. And instead of pulling the stud out of the mount, there's actually 14mm bolts. There are 3 of them. One there, there, and there. You can just pull that bracket out with the mount. Other than that, it's the exact same. I'm going to need 2 hands for this, but you're just going to lift the spindle back on, line the axle up, and get your 2 bolts for your spindle to strut. Actually, I think a better idea is slide the control arm in while nothing is in the way. Line up your back bushing first. Hold the control arm up with your fat gut. Slide that bolt in. And get the nut on. Just started a couple threads so the bolt doesn't fall out. This little bracket came off of the old control arm. It goes on the rear of the front bushing. And you can slide that in the way and get those 22 started. Just use the shallow 22 on a swivel to run the front bushing home, and then 19s on the rear. Now put your spindle on. You're going to want to get it started on the axle and then get the lower in, and then you can swing it up to get the spindle onto the strut. Looks like you want to get your nut in there before you push the axle all the way in, so just push that back a little bit. Get your lower started. The lower spindle bolt through, then we're just going to push in on the spindle to line up the upper one. 19mm open end wrench, tighten down your lower ball joint, get your cotter pin in, just hook up the rest of it. Put the rotor and caliper back on, and get a mini pry bar screwdriver, something, just stuff it down in the fins there. Torque your axle nut to 217 foot-pounds. leave the upper part of the sway bar link disconnected until you're done the other side. Jack your transmission back up, slide the mount back in, and put your stud back in. Just run that stud back in until the bottom's out. Put your 19 back on top, your 317s at the bottom, plastic caps on. Leave the upper part of the sway bar disconnected until you're done with the passenger side. But that's it over here. We can move over I'm going to move over there. I'm not going to record that one because I don't think anyone wants to see that long of a video. I lied. Here I am on the passenger side. Just wanted to show you the mount. So you get the 3 14mm bolts out of there, your 317 stud at the bottom. You can just pull the whole mount out. Then the rest of the process is the same as the driver's side. Alright, now the passenger side is all back together. You can tighten down your sway bar links. Put this little plastic piece back up. I just have to throw a new set of run flats on this thing. Struts, links, control arms, ball joints, tires. Should ride a little better. Oh yeah, that's better.